You want me to stop sharing? I can do that and then share back.
Nope, we're good.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm Brooke Shapiro from Sprinkles Parents. We are a community of 10,000 families here in the Bay Area, and we provide education, activities, and resources to make parenting easier. I always say I want to be that parenting handbook they forgot to give you at the hospital when you got your baby. Want to make parenting as easy as possible and share and educate families on tech and tools that will help them through the process of parenting. Since that village no longer exists like our parents had, and let's make life easier and all work together. I'm so grateful today for Pubali Sen, who's here for with Chom Chom, who's going to be sharing about parenting and AI. I have been so blown away by the amazing work she has done figuring out AI, and she's always telling me how she can automate things and how she has parenting with like all these tools. And I was just so blessed that she was able to join us today and share some of her tricks and tips to help us with parenting and AI to help our family, our kids, ourselves. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to her to introduce herself.
Hey, Brooke, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And I understand it's Friday, and Friday 11, if you're sitting here and listening to me, I'm just so thankful for it. A little about me. I am Pubali Sen. I'm the founder of Chom Chom AI. Think about Chom Chom as a playful companion for kids 5 to 8, and specially designed gamified platform for kids with ADHD. Having said that, my 14 years of my life, for the past 14 years, I have been in tech. I have been doing AI for the past more than 14 years, but 14 years technically in this industry. I started with AWS and then gradually moved, and now I am with Google as well. A little bit of journey as to why Chom Chom and how did it come. I got diagnosed after my kid. So I was 32 when I got diagnosed with ADHD. It kind of made things, I will not say easier, but the perspective of my life as to certain questions got answered. And since then, I've been very vocal about neurodiversity in tech and having that, platform where everybody feels included. That being said, a few months back, Brooke and I connected, and then that's where I learned about sprinkle parents. And one of the big challenges that I hear from all my friends, from our colleagues, from everybody around me is that, hey, what is AI and how do I kind of adopt and how do I kind of put in the check marks as to what I should be aware of? Okay. Uh, I do want this session to be very conversational. I like it to be chatty. We are going to keep it very grounded. It's going to be a very simple understanding of what AI is, some practical tool sharing. I'll be doing a live demo as well, giving you a little bit of tips as to what are the tools that you can use. All of the tools that I'll be showing and all of the demos that I'll be doing will be on free tools and free models that are available. Then we are going to talk a little bit about prompting. How do you interact with AI? And finally, it will be like more like, hey, what are the key things that you should be thinking about when it comes to safety, when it comes to, is my information safe with AI? Or what are the checks and balances that I should be thinking of given that my son or my daughter is interacting with AI now? With that, we can get started. Any questions up till now? Okay.
No questions. I think in the chat we were just saying how many of us have ADHD and how it like really spiked after having kids and the overwhelm of all the things we have to do for kids. Like it was hard to
Yes.
manage
It
just
was
for ourselves, right?
Yeah, and if I can take 2 minutes, it was one of the biggest trigger that made me go and seek help. Before that, I mean, I grew up in a place where I was told I was different. There was a lot of issues with me. Never actually thought about like, hey, it might be something neurological or it might be something that makes me a certain way until and unless My husband told me that, hey, you need help and you need to seek out. So, yeah, kudos to him. And finally, the mystery is solved.
Yeah.
Similarly, there's another mystery that's going on in our lives, and that's AI. And what people come and tell me is that, the basic thing about AI is what is AI? And I think a few weeks back, I had a presentation in my son's elementary school where I was supposed to talk about AI to 5-year-old. And I told them, I explained them in a very simple way. Like, your teachers are teaching you. That is what machine learning is. When engineers like me talk in machine language, which is basically zero and one, and make a computer learn, that is machine learning. Now, what you have learned from the teacher, that makes you smart, that makes you intelligent, and that makes you answer questions, do activities, understand emotions, etc., etc. That is exactly what AI is. Once the computers, once our machines have learned, they are going to have a effect with the learning. And what is that byproduct? They are going to get smarter. They are going to have the reasoning behind it. And that is exactly what AI is. It's the capability of machines and computer to showcase human intelligence, including, taking decisions, solving problems, understanding language, or even generating content. That is what AI is. It's simply what you do, how you interact with your kids. It's kind of us interacting with the machines and making them intelligent. That's pretty much it. Another analogy out there would be is that how does the machine learning part, how does computers get intelligent? I mean, think about it like a dog. I mean, when you're teaching a dog any trick, how do you do it? Firstly, you show it that, hey, you have to do this, right? Second is you give it a treat. And then finally, there's an association that comes. Similarly, it's the same thing with computer. How do you make them intelligent? How do you give them those teaching? And end of the day, it's going to be data. So think about data is like treats. So you're telling the dog, this is what you need to do, and I'm giving you this. Similarly, you're telling the machine, this is what you need to do, and I'm giving you data. I'm giving them kind of concepts of how to learn patterns from the data. And then the byproduct is them making decisions. There is a chain effect out here, because once I start giving data to the machine and I start giving learning patterns to the machine, I also need to tell the machine whether they are doing a good job or not a good job. And that is where a feedback mechanism comes in. And what we see today in form of chat GPT, in form of Gemini, in form of all these AI tools, we see a highly sophisticated machine that is capable of intelligence. So it's an AI tool that has gone through generations of training and generation of human feedback. So we are the people, you and me, who have actually made them smart and intelligent to a place where they are writing for us, they are talking for us, and they are listening to us.
It almost sounds like parenting, where you're like teaching the AI, you're training the AI, you're giving them
Yep.
rewards, they're learning and they're growing. It's getting smarter whether you're ready or not for it to get smarter. So it
Yep.
sounds a lot like parenting
It
too.
is. It is. And that's the exact thing we like. Me and my teammates, we joke. It's like AI right now looks like a teen, very hormonal. You don't know how it's going to react, and that's why it hallucinates.
I love that.
So, a big thing changed in 2022. AI was always there. I remember, like, a few years back, I was going through the Nostrom website, and remember then recommendations started coming that, hey, you've chosen this, you might be interested in this. And this was around the time of 2016, 2017 when it started coming. But today, AI has changed. The adoption of AI has changed. Why has it changed? So previously, the interaction that happened with AI was at a very high level. Engineers and data scientists, machine learning scientists would be the folks interacting and, kind of taking out patterns, training, etc., etc. In 2015, there was a paper that was published by Google, and the name of the paper was Transformer. It was basically the algorithm, the building block, the design as to how you can build up a machine that can speak and understand human language. That was the basis of the paper. What Google did in 2015 is they open sourced it, which meant they said that this is in pen and paper. We give it to everybody so that everybody can take this paper and start experimenting with it and developing on it. Simultaneously, a lot of industries, a lot of universities started working on it. By the year 2022, that's when OpenAI came in, that's when Anthropic, etc., etc. A lot of models came in. And when I say models, I mean they went through a lot of iteration. And finally, the one that was publicly released that created an uproar. The uproar was there because you and me could interact with a machine in our language. So we are just using English to make our task done. We are interacting, and it's like a good Hollywood movie that you see where you're asking somebody to do something and it gets done. A lot of time people, ask me is that, hey, you know what? Alexa was always there. You know what? Okay, Google was there. Siri was there. Then how is it different from what we have today? It is actually not very different. What we have today is just the evolution that the journey that has been made. So, if you think about it, first it was very task oriented, which means I will ask Alexa that, Alexa, can you tell me the time? And Alexa will tell me the time. If I ask Alexa, Alexa, can you tell me what to do now? Alexa will not remember the time it she told me. She'll not remember that it's 10 a.m. She'll just probably rant randomly. Today, what's different is that they have the dialogue and they have memory to it, which means is that when I start having a conversation to a certain period of time and they remember, they have memory as to what I have asked, what was the first question, what was the second question, what is the context, which is very similar to how we are. Anecdotally, women are better at remembering things versus men. And we all know that. We all have been married or are married. So, setting that aside, so think about LLMs, which is language model, which is basically an AI that we interact with through our language, which is English. It can be different languages that has context, that has memory, and that remembers our previous questions, our yesterday's questions, our day before yesterday's questions. To a point where we have LLMs today, where we have models today that can also have access to our search, that can have access to our data and know us way better than we know ourselves. So, in this dynamics, we have to be very careful as to what tools we are interacting with, how much we are interacting with, and what kind of, acknowledgement are we agreeing to. Any questions up till now? So, this is a fun activity. I have four questions. I mean, I've got four tools, places out here, placeholders out here. Can anybody tell me of one of the AI tools that you use regularly, or you have played around with, or you are very comfortable with today? Anyone?
I've used Chat GPT, but definitely not on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Someone put Perplexity AI. I actually don't know that one.
Yeah.
Or
I've been parallel testing ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and one other for about 2 months now. I also use Notebook LM. I absolutely love Notebook LM.
I love a notebook, Ellen. I was actually one of the first few people who was testing it out a few years back before it was released. So I have like a very close connection with that product.
Such an amazing product. So incredible.
Yes, agreed. Anyone else? I think we've named a lot of them. We'll make
Oh, Boardsy. Oh, sorry.
Ron.
There are just two in the chat. Boardsy AI.
mm-hmm.
I don't know that one. And Duckbill AI. That is my favorite.
Yeah,
It's my favorite thing in the world.
there's
Oh,
going to be
cool. Someone's building a product. What's
wow.
your product? If some Ajanta, if you want to share.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jamta Pubali. Loving the session so far. I'm building a product called Mental Load.
Uh-huh.
It's essentially to cut down the mental load that parenting has. And you call that women remember more than men. Oh my God, yes. So it's aimed to helping women and couples.
I
That's
love
Amazing.
amazing. Can you
that.
put it in the chat? Would you be, if
It's
it's ready?
getting built right now, so I will put something up there and we'll follow up with this shortly.
I
Love
love
it.
that, Ajanta. If you have any questions around Gemini or any other tools, the basic models and the APIs, feel free to reach out.
I would love to. Thank you, Pavali.
Yes. And sorry, one more chat, just
Mhm.
comment. Rachel School has an amazing AI tool. I actually use it myself called Sage, which is part of her Boy Mom Academy. I know,
Uh-huh.
Rachel, you have a headache. Rachel, if you would be so kind as to put
Okay.
it in the chat as well, please.
Sure.
So we
I'll
could
go
just,
ahead and do it. It's for moms of boys, and it
Yeah.
it's trained in my boy mom method. So it's like talking to ChatGPT, except it's only trained in my methodologies.
Rachel, I'm a boy mom and a girl mom, and
Uh-huh.
I feel that both of my genders are switched. My girl behaves more like a boy. She's she's something. So I'm a boy mom for her, for sure.
Funny. I love that.
Yeah, she's crazy. She's absolutely nuts. I love her. Anyway, I'm sorry, Rachel. We should also catch up sometime. And Brooke, I do have a request that if you can copy the chat and keep, because sometimes I do it once the session is over, I kind of close it and I lose everything. So just a heads up.
yes, I'll save. I think it saves automatically when I record it. So hopefully I'll make sure we share the chat too. Thank you.
As much as I love I am very guarded about AI. Um, the way I think about AI is I'm an adult. I make conscious decisions for myself. As a kid, I am responsible for them making conscious decisions and I'm making it for them. So, one thing I have is that I'm very particular, and maybe I'm a crazy a little bit in that, is that I make sure that when I'm signing up for a tool, I go and read their privacy details. I also make sure that an AI tool, basically whichever is offering something very unique, must be built on one of the core foundational models or an enterprise foundational models. There are only a few. I make sure, and I would always want that to have an enterprise version of it versus a non enterprise version of it. And the reason I say that is let's just take Chat GPT for example. So, whenever we have a free version, it's a free version because, end of the day, when Chat GPT or when any other AI model is releasing a newer version, right? Couple of things goes into it. Firstly, AI needs to be updated. So say 2023 AI versus 2025 version, there's going to be more internet data. So it has to be up to date. So that's why you'll see generally the pattern is that every 3 months, OpenAI, Gemini, Anthropic will come back and say that, hey, we have another new version of a particular model. That being said, when you're looking into a free version of model, technically when the model comes in and a new version comes out, it has a new knowledge base. It also has a new feedback data that has gone in. How is the best way to train model? is the amount of data and the quality of data that makes a good model. And that comes when they make the model free to you. The reason being is people adoption will happen at a very base level on products that are free so that they can go and train back. There was a time where there was a market capture and everything, but basically, what I've seen is that if you go to the enterprise version, you will significantly see a very, very different language in their legal and privacy. You will see that they will not train on your data versus on a free model where they'll say that, hey, we will be training on your data. So these are like a few kind of tips to look into. Generally, I am very particular about what kind of data I'm bringing in when I'm trying a free model versus when I'm trying a paid model. Again, being said, things where I will definitely not use AI is uploading my medical history. I won't do that. Uploading my health chart. Suppose I got some tests done. I am not going to upload that and ask LLMs to tell me that, hey, can you diagnose me for this? These are the things I will not do. Similarly, any kind of interactions you have with LLMs, keep it very generic. You can have a persona defined, but you don't have to give out names. And we'll touch upon prompting a little bit as to how you can get the best results from LLM. But it's interesting. Some of the tools that I love out here and some of the tools that are part of my household, and there are way more. These are the ones that I could fit in because we are just 1 hour. Notebook LLM, it's absolutely my to-go place. I'll be very honest, I have a podcast with around 200 downloads, round about that, which I started in the month of November. I use Notebook LM to generate my podcast. I used 11 Labs to get the audio, and it's an entirely AI driven podcast. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. I use the OpenAI, but I use the enterprise version of OpenAI. And the reason I use the enterprise version is because my product, a portion of my product is being built on OpenAI. And apart from that, it is very fine tuned. And I have a lot of kind of, um, I would say, security checks in, which makes it easier when you are on an enterprise version of it. Personally, I would have loved Gemini, but because it's a kind of contention. I work there, so not saying more. 11 Labs is one place where me and my kids go for fun. It's a amazing product. What it gives you is human-like audio. It's amazing. If you need to integrate your AI product with human-like voices, 11 Labs is a good place to go and check out. Dream Studio is from Stability. I have always been in two minds whether I should use it or not. Um, Stability has been very notorious in coming to legalities of training copyrighted data. So sometimes I use, sometimes I don't. I do use Dali. I love Imagine. Those are the places I generally go to, work out and play out with them. And then you have, I put in another one. You also have Cosmo.ai and Ohai.ai that pretty much does similar things. Basically takes in your calendar, takes in your husband's calendar, your partner's calendar, your kid's calendar, and it kind of that's it. You don't have to think about anything else. It's going to do your meetings, it's going to do your reminders, it's going to send out emails for you. So it's pretty sleek, it's pretty easy, and it's pretty nice. They are in beta at the moment, which means that you don't pay for the product. So you can go and check it out as well. I'm going to go off to a demo mode. I do want to try to show you how to leverage AI and a certain nitty-gritties as to what kind of LLMs and what kind of models make sense for what kind of questions. If you guys have any questions, queries, please feel free.
Yeah. So Rachel, I know put in the chat, like, so we're gonna go through some demos now. Do you have a specific example that you'd want us to work through, Rachel?
Mhm.
Well, I was just hearing you say, I put my husband's calendar, I put my calendar, I put my calendar, and it just does stuff for us. What? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
So they claim that they are going to sync the calendars, they are going to give you the reminders, they are going to set up the alarms, they are going to send out emails. I don't know in beta what features are available, but they seems really nice. Think about it as a virtual assistant for your family. I do want to give some time to you, Brooke, because I know you're working with a lot of amazing founders in this particular space itself. Do you want to call them out as well?
Sure, yeah. Well, I was gonna share just really quick. I use Skylight Calendar, which Rachel, for you, if you're not familiar with, it syncs my husband's calendar, my calendar, and then it has different colors for each kid so that I know who's going where and who's taking which kid at what time, and then it has notifications. But some clients that I actually work on is Miss Poppins, which uses AI to create a parenting roadmap and then uses real life parenting coaches to help with your parenting needs. So think like speech therapists, doulas, lactation consultants, um, teaching, reading specialists, things like that are all in one place that help you. One of the tools that I like to use
But,
is
Brooke, can I just ask you a question? Like, what do you mean they're all in one place? Does it call them and schedule for you, or are they AI therapists?
so they are real. So AI helps create like your roadmap of what you need based off of your problems. And then the real life therapist you can talk to on the chat. And then they are, I can't say therapist. Sorry, someone got some back. Hold on, let me mute.
So I'll take one part of that question that was asked, that what do you mean by you can schedule? AI is getting there, and you might have heard a lot of buzz about AI agents. So when AI agents come into picture and they start going into productions, that's exactly what you're going to do. Um, they are going to be basically taking decisions on your part. They will be able to create calendar events. They'll be able to send out emails. They'll be able to kind of send out acknowledgement, SMS, etc., etc., on your behalf. And when I say they'll be able to send you, it's not going to be through automation. For example, it's not that you have said that every 8 o'clock on a Monday I need to send out a newsletter to my customers. No, what it's going to do is it's going to have your data. For example, if you have a product, right, and you have a marketing AI agent, what the marketing agent is going to do is it's going to see the pattern of your conversion, it's going to see the pattern of your season, it's going to see the pattern of what your customers are, and based on that it's going to create campaign on its own without you having to tell them, without you having to come and tell them that, hey, these are my list, these are my customers. Yes, there will be a human in the loop. What is going to happen then is these agents will create these workbooks for you, these playbooks for you, and once you approve, it's going to be set out and free. The approval can also be like, hey, after 3 4 trials you see it's already doing a fab job, you just say that, hey, you run with it and it's going to be good. This is the future of AI I'm talking about. Is it there yet? It's not there. It's I would say it's still a few years away of having that full 100% agentic workflow experience. Okay. I
I
think
think one of the things, sorry, just really quick to talk about that, is I think one of the things with AI, at least that I'm trying to have AI outsource a lot for me, is like you were saying, is like that privacy information, right? Like putting in my health insurance, putting in, right now I'm trying to have AI help me change my medicine from Walgreens to be delivery, and like, but there's so much privacy that I still need to do with 2FAs, right? And having my insurance information, being able to call my insurance. that AI has, or like a VA still is, not able to completely do for us yet.
Yeah. And there are certain AI models that are specifically made for them. And those are HIPAA compliant models. You and
Mm,
me, general public, will not have access to them. The access is at an enterprise level so that, companies can start building these, HIPAA compliant AI agents, etc., down the lane. There are a few that are already being like in the R&D phase, in a beta phase that's already started, but I don't see it being productionized at least by end of this year.
cool.
Okay, I'm sorry, I went very deep. Sorry about that. I'm going to get back to what
Yeah.
are the different kinds of models. So I'm starting with Gemini. So you'll see that there are a lot of different variations of models that are there. Flash, so Gemini has two versions of it, Flash and Pro. Pro is an upgraded version. You need to pay for it. Think about Flash, that is anything that needs to be very low latency, which is very quick. Flash also does support a lot of input, but not at a scale at which Pro does. Pro, I think you can bring in 1 million characters or 2 million tokens, which is like divided by 4 characters. That is the number of characters you can bring. That is the number of words you can bring. Then, in our latest phase, like for the past 1 month, what has happened is that there are two new kind of models that have come in. One is your language model, which kind of understands English in a very semantic way and answers you in a very semantic way, understanding patterns, but not understanding the real actual meaning of the words. The thinking portion of it, and I think in ChatGPT it is known as the reasoning models, O3 reasoning model, etc., O3 like reasoning models. Flash thinking is exactly the same. So if you ask a question, it's not just going to answer you, but it's also going to tell you why it answered in a certain way. If anybody has a question,
Yeah. I mean, could we sign my kids up for summer camp? Is that a question we could ask where AI could plan my kids' summer camps?
uh, I would rephrase it in a little bit different way. So when we are
Okay.
in, and this can be a very good prompting guide, like Brooke had, can I sign my kids for summer camp? That's a very vague question to ask an LLM. You have not given any details as to what is the kid's age, what is their personality, is there anything you're looking for in the summer camp, right? So I would rephrase it, and whenever you're asking a question to an LLM, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Gemini, always remember that personas are very important. So let's do plan 7 year old.
Maybe like ADHD kids camp for July 1st through July 8th, like even which week around a certain area.
So that would depend. This one doesn't have grounding. So a paid version of it will have grounding. What does grounding mean? It's the same thing with OpenAI as well. Grounding means that they have access to the internet, which is basically they have access to Google search. So once you say that you have access to Google search, you can ask these questions that, hey, can you plan a 7-year-old boy with ADHD a summer camp session for it? I'm looking into summer camps that are very interactive, that is outdoor oriented and focused on sports. At that point of time, will it not only plan it, it will also start suggesting that these are the ones that are nearby you might want to look into. So you have to have that underlying knowledge of what model you are interacting with. But let's say, let's come over here and see. Plan a 7-year-old boy summer camp session. I am looking for an outdoor camp that will focus. I am not able to see. Focuses on sports. Not something that is better than around. I'm going to do this. I'm going to send it over. So it seems Flash has the thing right now, internet. Okay. A good thing is also like generally when you're interacting with LLM, you always also want to include references, include links.
So
It's
that
already
you
included links, but I'll tell you why. You can go and verify and you can check. Okay. Now I'm going to take the same question and put it into thinking, and I'll see the difference out here. So here it's telling me what the model is considering before it gives me an answer. So it tells you exactly what the thinking process is. So this does not have access to your internet, but it tells you what are the consideration. So you have to be, again, this is an experimental. It's not yet GA. What does experimental mean versus something that's not experimental? Experimental means that the team behind this particular model is updating frequently and the model response can change frequently.
That's cool.
This is a very interesting place, especially for parents who are looking for kind of help with learning, education, and who are looking to create these, one pager, 6 pages of very technical report. That is where deep research comes in. So, deep research is very refined to be your research assistant. So, here you want to think about your teenage boy or girl is having some issues regarding a particular subject. This is a place where you want to, come and see what kind of answers you get. Always ask for links, always ask for references, but in general, deep research will come back with links and will come back with citations. So it's very research oriented. Does anybody have any questions?
How does
I
it
was just
differ?
gonna, oh, go on, sorry.
Sorry, how does it differ from how Notebook LM does research?
It does not to certain extent, but the models used, underlining model used, might be a different version of each other. It could be it's the same version. It could be it's not the same version. Again, notebook LLM is very defined in a sense where you can say that where you have a rack system. So you are actually giving it a web page. You are giving it your own documents, and then it can have those documents included
Yeah.
along with the research it does. This one doesn't. So if you see, that is not yet available. But this is going to be very much on, I would say, have you guys checked out Google Scholar?
What's that?
So Google Scholar is a place where you actually go and see all the citations for PhD papers and anything that's very, I would say, university oriented. This would have a deep knowledge on that. So anybody has a question they want to go through a deep research. And what we can do is we can take that to Notebook LLM and see how it works there as well.
I was just gonna say I use Duckbill AI to plan my kids' camps this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in the if people are like interested, I'll put them in the chat. And someone else said they use Duckbill too, which is amazing. I just said like my budget, the weeks, the date. They made like a tracking calendar for me, and it was so nice to have that like off of my
Yeah. So
chest.
a little bit on it is when like products like that, that's actually not just AI, it's AI and application engineering together.
Yeah.
So it's basically taking one of the base models. The
Hmm.
model is not going to be doing your search for you. It's in our language, in engineering language, these are known as tools or extensions. So
Uh-huh.
what they do is they create these functions where they do a search, they get the data back, and then they feed it to the AI model so that it can answer it and summarize it for you in a certain way.
Yeah, and then there's also an element, I think, with AI, we can talk about this or not, is like there's almost a human element too, right?
Mhm.
So like as I was mentioning with Poppins, like there's still like the parent coach that is needed, right? To help with like AI can't answer so much, but there's still like that human element.
Yep.
And same with like Duckbill or their Sundays. I sent a link for everyone to see all the different tools that I use. Um, they have like the VA element too, to like make that call to book it or like take it to the next level, which can help too. Or do like the things you hate to do. Like I was just saying, like they're gonna have or to have someone come like clean my couch. I've been talking about it for 2 years and I can't get myself to do it myself. So
Yep.
it's just so nice to have someone take that off your plate.
Mhm.
But Brooke, when you did that, like, was there a human that called to actually schedule it and get it in your?
Yeah. So like I just said the task. And then like I was saying, there's an element of AI where they like have the questions that I need to ask. They need the human to ask that I don't think about because I just think, oh, I need to clean the couch, right? And then they're like, okay, so what's your budget range? And it's like, oh, well, I didn't even think about that. So then I put my budget range and then it's like, oh, what days are best for you? Oh, I didn't even think about what days are best for me. Like, do you care if it's eco-friendly? Not. So that's where like the AI is asking a lot of the questions. And then once they have all those like things I didn't think through, especially with my ADHD, I just kind of like have things in my pop in my head. Then they have the VA call, within the area and figure out who's within my budget, who's eco-friendly, who can come in my time, and then schedule it for me. And then put it on my calendar so that I know it's happening. So that
Hmm.
was like just a nice thing off my plate,
Yep.
and saved me a ton of time.
How much does it cost?
I can't remember what duck bill costs. You can do it as like a single person where I do it. I decided to have my husband involved. Oh, 100 a month. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I was gonna say I also but I did it now with my husband because it was just on me still to be doing all the duck bills. Like I was like, and so he started telling me to do things on the duck bill, and I was like, wait a minute, you can do it yourself. So I pay like it's worth like all $30 extra a month, and now he can do it. Like and so he's like, oh, like, we need more we need to caulk the bathroom. And I'm like, great, you have the duck bill, call someone to get the caulk. Like, you don't need me now to be the one who does it. So it's just trying to take also some of this invisible labor that women have. Um, cool. Yeah. So anyways, I'll share the discount code I have too and links in the chat if people are interested.
It sort of reminds me of TaskRabbit, except that there's a third party between you and the TaskRabbit.
Yeah, because you still have to pick which TaskRabbit will do what, right? They're kind of taking the decision fatigue off you because that's where whenever I go to TaskRabbit or Handyman or even Yelp sometimes I just get so overwhelmed with the choices
Mm-hmm.
that they kind of are taking these choices. I can say just do it for me, like because I don't really care. I just go down this information overload rabbit hole.
Mhm.
A quick note for folks like Ajanta, Rachel, if you're building up, Google AI Studio is a good place to come and start trying. There is good credits available to, start playing with the APIs itself and then build on top of the APIs. You can go ahead and try it out. For here, what I've done is I've created a story about a blue turtle. The reason I created was very different, is like it can be a very fun task with your kid and you. This is what I do. You can have it streaming, you can have it in a lot of ways, but what I like to do it, and this is basically how I round up like a kind of a weekend activity with my son, is I take it from here. I go to 11 Labs. Again, it has a paid version. And I think in paid version, you get around 5,000 characters a month. In the free version, podcast which I want to do in my voice.
Sheldon was
Okay, so you can easily download it. Once it's downloaded, it becomes very
Sheldon
easy.
was to put it
Okay, and it goes here. Okay, I got it
Sheldon was
downloaded.
to put it mild.
So this is a fun activity in my family, depending on your kid's age. For my niece and nephew, and my niece is in her high school. They use a lot of research, the deep research. Deep research does have capability to do maths at a PhD level, but caveat is that always cross check, always make sure that when your kids are interacting with something that's AI, you have the tabs to it, you know what the history is, and you know what the answers and the questions that are being asked. Generally, if you go through something that is as simple as Gemini or Chat GPT in its core form, you'll always have a recent history that you can go back and check. And that's what we do in our family. The reason I'm coming into Canva is because after that, I'm going to do this landscape. I love Canva. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to elements. I'm going to generate, say, watercolor, cute, blue, turtle. So generally, this becomes their bedtime story for the weekend for my son and my daughter. So here I got it. Okay, I did a kind of a goofed up. I have to have it this way. I'm going to generate it again. Okay, as I'm doing this, it's a 5 minutes activity for your kids, a fun activity depending the age of your kids. But if there is any other questions that I can answer, please feel free. We will be sharing the PDF format of the slide and the recording, so you guys can always come back and refer to it. So this is done. Then I go to, I go to uploads. So you can see how much of 11 labs I use. It's my to-go place. Did it download? It's not the one that I used. Let's go there.
Sheldon was, to put it mildly, blue. Not me.
So let me go and see. It's this one. Okay. Fine.
My mind is just so blown. I didn't realize that was how you can get voice over from
It's
who
as
knew?
easy as that. It's as easy as that. And there you have your.
Imagine you could magically become any animal for a whole day.
Wow.
And again, I did a goof up. I kind of got in the different one. But that's pretty much it. It's as easy as that to create
Just
the
the different stories and then just
yep,
create the pictures and everything.
yep. It takes less than 5 minutes, to be very honest.
Wow. Very cool.
I'm going to go back to my slide share, and I've lost everything at this point of time.
Oh no.
No, I'm just joking. I am joking. Don't worry about that. Okay, I do want to talk about a little bit, and I know we are running out of time, but a couple of places which I trust when it comes to AI and learning. Khan Academy Kids, definitely. Dreambox Learning. These are the two places that I trust. The reason being, Khan Academy is very transparent about their usage of AI, particularly ChatGPT, and the checks and boxes they kind of have. For example, they're always on enterprise. They maintain COPA architecture. They are not doing any kind of sharing. They are very particular about the data privacy when it comes to kids. So that is one app where I can blindly trust as of now. I can tell you that. In terms of safety and ethics, like I said, go into simple tools where you have places where you can go and have the search history or recent history. Again, have a conscious decision if there is AI being used a lot at your home. Probably investing $20 a month or $30 a month might make sense for that particular model, because at that point of time you get the privacy part of it. Lastly, teach kids not to share any form of personal information. Have a very open talk about AI. One thing that we do in our household is we make kids feel included, especially when I am exploring AI, in a way where today he understands that what tools are available. He's able to use AI. Like, he's 6 years old, but he can do what I did in Canva, and he can create his own stories. But he also knows that he is not going to share his name. He's not going to share any personal information, which mama is not comfortable with. And the reason is that it's like the key of your house. You don't want to lose your key of your house and make it available for everybody. Similarly, your name, your personal identification is a key to your life. You don't want to lose it to AI. And that's how I would like to conclude this workshop.
Thank you so much. This was so helpful. I don't know if anyone else has any other questions they'd like to ask. I'm just super grateful. Hopefully we can all take away some little nuggets to save us time. As a follow-up for this call, I will be sharing your information. I will be sharing the recording of this video, the PDF of this presentation, the link of some tools that we can all look through and use. Anything else that could help? All right. Well, I think that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Please reach
Thank
out with any
you.
questions. Thank you again for joining us today. This was so great.
Take
Gonna
care,
stop the
everyone.
recording.